Hey guys, so Chris is here with me, and we're going to do a quick review of the new End Times Khaine book that just came out this past weekend.
Lovely new installment.
So it's right there with its brothers, Nagash and Glotkin. Just kidding, yeah, all three there. So it's the third release of this End Times series. This time it's focusing on the elves and what they've been up to. We can dive right in.
Yep.
So it's the same format as the previous two releases. So it has a large fluff book and then a smaller rule book with new units and whatnot. We can start with the fluff book, since it's the least interesting for most people.
Yeah.
So it follows the same format, you know. Talks about the new civil war between the High Elves and Dark Elves and sort of what happens. There's a lot of political intrigue in this one, which is cool. Once again, they have the sort of participating armies unit focusing things. So it's like more detailed information on some of the units that are taking part in these battles. And there's one of these for sort of each major battle and all the players in it.
Yeah.
Once again, you know, a ton of new sweet art.
Oh, look! Yeah, the art is incredible, and overviews of all the armies.
Yeah.
In their greatness, it's just phenomenal. The craftsmanship they put into these books and into the armies themselves.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, they got these big showcase shots of, you know, all the armies duking it out.
Yeah, phenomenal book, really. For all you elf players, it's definitely definitely a must buy.
It's a solid read for ourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the art book, fluff book, whatever. Next up is the rules. Sort of what you're probably all wanting to see.
Yep.
So they update a few characters. This release was different than the previous two because there was no new models released. And after going through these books, it doesn't look like they sort of will be, at least for the Khaine release. It's all sort of rehashes of old models and stuff like that.
So the biggest change, I believe, with the this release is the magic and how they play out magic in Warhammer Fantasy battles. Yeah, it's just going through the rules like quickly. Like every mage is a lore master of a particular spell group. How you generate winds of magic and everything like that changes completely. The how you cast spells changes completely. It's actually quite interesting and could definitely turn the tide of any battle, you know, very quickly. From what I read through, like I just went through it quickly and was quite impressed of the things that you were allowed to do and the things that they were limiting you to do. Upon the release too, there's more spells, kind of beefed up. There's a section here on lodestones, and like, once you buy the book, you can read that, obviously. But they have new end time spells, and unfortunately, we don't have the cards yet. But I'm sure we'll get those soon. You
don't need the cards though,
no.
if you can't get a hold of them, because they're all sort of overviewed in this book.
Yeah, but every lore gets its own little beefed up magic spell, which is actually. Reading through some of them, they're quite intense.
Yeah.
High casting values.
One of these, this one here is pretty crazy. Lore Metal casts on a 15. It's an augment spell with a range of 24. The target unit has a 2+ ward save.
Yeah.
So that sort of gives you an idea of the power level of these new spells.
Yeah, ridiculous. and like I said, like every wizard is a lore master of a particular group. So like if you take I don't know, an Empire Battle Mage and he's a lore of metal, well, sure enough, he's going to have this spell, and he's going to have all the other lore of metal spells as well.
Yeah.
And he can only be like a level 2. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, so this is just more of the spells.
Yeah.
After that, we get into the new characters. It says new armies and units. Oh, I guess that's true. There is new.
Yeah, they have this thing called Elven Hosts. So basically, you can nitpick from certain lists that they have described here. You can take certain Elven units from Dark Elves to High Elves to Wood Elves. It all depends on, I guess, what kind of host you want to play.
Right. So the story so far seems to be Malekith comes back and he's trying to be the new Phoenix King. And he has some political backing behind it so that the High Elves aren't totally against it. So this is his army list, and it's built up of High Elves and Dark Elves. And Wood Elf stuff is in there. And then in retaliation, Tyrion pulls the sword, the Widowmaker. So those of you who follow the fluff, it's the sword that Aenirion pulled during the Sundering to help vanquish all the demons, but it also cursed his bloodline. So he's pulled that sword to try to save the High Elves. And it's basically a war between these two, so another huge civil war. And there's different ways to build your armies. Some of the armies, or a lot of the units get changed, so they have both murderous prowess and martial prowess, which is kind of crazy. But other than that, yeah. And then the host of the Eternity King is the army that's left over after the Civil War, so it's basically whoever's left joins the Eternity King. After that, there's characters, so Malekith. He gets a new go. I guess we can go over him as the Phoenix King. Spoiler alert. So he's 825 points. Alright, whatever, Logan. He's got a pretty beastly stat line. He's riding his dragon, so it's another one of those combined profiles. Toughness 6, 9 wounds. You can see it there. He has all of his old gear. I think that's all that's really new about him. Oh, no, he's the Phoenix King. So all friendly units with the Martial Prowess special rule that are within 12 inches of Malekith can make supporting attacks with 1 extra rank than normal. This is cumulative with any other special rule that allows a unit to fight an extra rank, such as Martial Prowess itself. So that means Spear Elves can attack in 4 ranks, or 5 if they're hoarded up. Then there's a buff version of Malekith. Then there's the other guy, Tyrion, who's become sort of evil after he pulled the sword. And here's him.
Baby, like, how evil can you be, though, with a big old heart on your belt?
Pretty evil, apparently.
That's just me being a douche.
So he retains his cavalry status. So he still has his horse, Malhandir. A little bit buff stat line. This is after he pulls the Widowmaker. So it's pretty good. He keeps his old armor, but has the new Widowmaker sword. So, magic weapon, hits from the Widowmaker, automatically wound, and have the multiple wounds d6 special rule. Armor saves cannot be taken against hits caused by the Widowmaker, and it can never be destroyed by enemy spells or magic items. So basically, he's a beast. Also, he has his own sort of spell, which allows him to summon undead warriors to fight for him. So I guess the fluff behind this is because he's the avatar of Khaine now, freshly dead units and people are energized back into life to continue fighting because Khaine is the god of war. So that's pretty nuts.
Real crazy.
Other than that, basic characters. They bring Imric back, so he used to have his own rules and stuff. So they give him new ones. We won't go into them, but he's back. It's cool. They still have his old model though. Alarielle, she's the other big player in this book. Yeah, a lot of stuff happens with her. But she gets 2 new forms, so Ascendant and even further buffed up. And then last chapter, just like the other books had, were
scenarios and stuff like that.
yeah,
Going through it quickly, a lot of it's the beginning is like high elves versus dark elves, and it just kind of throws out the was a lot of the Civil War part of it, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, between a lot of the armies. So just your typical scenario shenanigans.
Yeah.
Different rule sets and whatnot. And there's actually quite a few of them in here.
Yeah, they sort of highlight every sort of major battle.
Yeah, and you can go back to the chapter and kind of make a reference to the fluff if you so feel the need. But all in all, it's a great little book.
Yeah, another
Very interesting.
solid read.
It's definitely going to be very interesting to see the armies constructed from this.
Yeah, it's sort of a big deal.
Yeah. I thought Glockin was a big hit for me as an undead player. Nagash was great, but then I see they release this stuff, and I'm like, well, shit. Like,
yeah.
What a kick in the nuts. But no, it's pretty fantastic stuff.
Yeah, especially with the elves, who are considered pretty good now that they're able to basically just pick and choose all the good units from each book. It's
going to be disgusting to see in tournaments and stuff. If they allow, it'd be interesting. I'd like to see if they would allow the different magic.
The new magic?
The new magic rules in tournaments.
Yeah,
it's going to be tricky. That's going to be a really big stepping stone for a lot of people, I think.
Well, it's good for defenders too. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Sure, it's a little over the top, but you both get those spells, right? So it's not like anyone's left out except for the dwarves, because they don't have wizards. And they get nothing. But yeah, another good release. Any final thoughts?
No, I think in upcoming games, if we don't have any games featuring the new Elven armies, I'd really like to showcase the magic and really get into detail on explaining to our viewers what we're doing with the magic in this release.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
we'll try to feature it in our next couple battle reports.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.